If Elected, I Will Not Live is the 5th episode of the 3rd season of Wings. This is directed by Andy Ackerman, and as always there will be spoilers from now as I talk about the episode. And this is not a bad episode. It's actually one I remembered really well from the first time I watched the series, which is quite interesting because there are a lot of episodes that I don't remember them in any great detail. I don't necessarily remember exactly how they unfold, but with this one it was pretty strong in my memory, and I'm taking that as a sign that actually it was a pretty good episode. And I have to say, watching it again, I really enjoyed it. We have a subplot. There will be spoilers from now, I should point out. I won't go into a tremendous amount of detail, but I will talk about what happens and share some thoughts. The subplot involves Helen trying to sell her cello, which is, I think, quite drastic. I got the impression that it wasn't so much that she wanted to sell it for money. Well, she wanted money, but it wasn't for financial reasons. I think it's more so the fact that having the cello there reminds her that she hasn't accomplished her dreams. And it's clearly not because she's not good, because she's great at playing the cello. And that must be really painful to have to kind of face every day. But I still don't think selling it is the right decision. And how this played out and her refusal to sell it to a certain potential buyer, I thought was quite entertaining. I quite liked it. But the main narrative focuses on Roy and the fact that he is running for the town council. And his opponent has actually, well, I was going to say his opponent dropped out. His opponent is in the hospital. He's not able to run. So Roy thinks, brilliant, I'm going to win. And the others start talking about the fact that they really don't want Roy on the town council. So they kind of encourage Joe to run. They think he'd be really good at this, and he talks quite passionately about Nantucket. So Joe says, okay, I'll do this. And then Faye goes to tell somebody she knows at the paper because she feels like that endorsement would really help Joe's campaign. However, when she talks to the paper, they kind of get the sense that she would be great to run for town council. And without her knowledge, they kind of endorse her instead of Joe. And now Roy is running against Faye. And honestly, I think it's quite unpredictable how this is going to play out. And I don't love what Roy did. But at the same time, it made for an interesting episode because what happened, and I will explain this, so this is of course a spoiler, Roy basically tells Faye, I've never won anything in my life, this would mean the world to me. And Faye has clearly been manipulated by Roy's, what I think is a fake emotional performance. But he did a very good job. And I don't think saying I've never won anything before is enough of a reason to try and let somebody else win this kind of election. But nevertheless, that is what happened. And I will say, even though I think Roy was being manipulative, when he won, he did seem genuinely happy. And I do think that actually it meant a lot to him. And I do think, and this is just my reading of the character, Roy is quite a bitter person. And I think that that's largely because he's not had a lot in life. And I don't necessarily mean financially. I mean he's not successful as he would want to be. Granted, he owns an airline, but he's maybe not as successful as he'd like to be. He's maybe not living the family life that he'd want. In all things considered, when it comes to ticking the boxes of things in life that matter, at the moment, it maybe doesn't seem like he has that much in his pot. And I feel like this actually was a confidence boost for him to realise that actually the universe does care about Roy and the universe does want Roy to do well. So I think that it was a bit of a boost for his self-esteem. One might argue Roy doesn't need a self-esteem boost, but I think his bravado is definitely a cover for some insecurities. But this is purely my reading of the character. But I thought it was a really good episode. I was very keen. I couldn't remember how it played out. I should point out I couldn't remember exactly how it ended. I had a vague recollection of what happened, but I couldn't remember the sequence of events towards the end, and I was keen to rediscover those, and I'm pleased to say that I really thoroughly enjoyed it again. It's a strong episode, well-crafted, unpredictable, quite a few surprises, and some really great performances as well. If Elected, I Will Not Live is definitely a good episode of Wings.